Some people measure success in dollars, some in titles, some in the quiet satisfaction of proving everyone wrong. For me, it started with a dinner I'll never forget. My name is Zunri. I'm the youngest of three sisters. Lila is the oldest, married, settled, living the life our parents always wanted for us. Lily is the middle child, married to a man named Marcus, who thinks very highly of himself. I'm the one who took a different path. While my sisters got married in their 20s, I went to graduate school. While they bought houses in the suburbs, I rented a small apartment in the city. While they climbed corporate ladders, I started my own business, a small marketing consultancy that grew slowly but steadily. My parents didn't understand my choices. My sisters thought I was wasting my time. And Marcus? Marcus thought I was a joke. I didn't realize how much until that dinner. It was my mother's 65th birthday. She wanted the whole family together, a rare event since we didn't gather often. Lila came with her husband and kids. Lily came with Marcus. I came alone. The restaurant was nice. Too nice for a family like ours, but my mother had chosen it. White tablecloths, candles, waiters who refilled your water glass every 5 minutes. We made small talk through appetizers. Lila's kids were adorable. Lily's new house was beautiful. My mother's health was good. Then came the main course. Marcus had been drinking. Not a lot, but enough to loosen his tongue. He turned to me with that smile I'd learned to hate, the one that said he was about to say something funny. "So, Zunri," he said, loud enough for the whole table to hear. "Still working from your apartment? Still taking calls in your pajamas?" Lily laughed. A nervous laugh, but a laugh. I smiled tightly. "The business is doing well, actually. I just signed 2 new clients." "2 new clients," Marcus repeated, as if it were nothing. "That's cute. My company just closed a deal worth $2 million. You know, real work." The table went quiet. My father stared at his plate. My mother looked uncomfortable. Lila shot Marcus a warning glance. I felt my face burn, but I didn't react. "Not yet." "Congratulations," I said quietly. "That's impressive." Marcus leaned back, satisfied. "See? That's the difference between people who play at business and people who actually do it. Nothing wrong with playing, of course. Someone has to handle the small stuff." Lily smiled at her husband, proud of his wit. I excused myself to the restroom. In the mirror, I stared at my reflection. I could feel the anger building, not just at Marcus, but at myself. For not defending my work, for not saying something sharper, for letting him make me feel small. But something else was there too. A thought, a plan. Marcus didn't know what I really did. None of them did. My business had grown more than I'd told them. My clients included companies much larger than his. And one of them, a firm I'd been consulting with for months, was about to announce a major acquisition. The company they were acquiring? Marcus's company. I'd known for weeks. Signed an NDA. Couldn't tell anyone. But now, watching him smirk across the table, I realized something beautiful. In 3 months, when the acquisition closed, Marcus would have a new boss. And that boss would be the head of the consulting team his company had hired to manage the transition. The head of the consulting team was me. I didn't say anything that night. I went back to the table, finished my dinner, and smiled through the rest of the evening. Marcus made a few more jokes at my expense. Lily laughed. My parents pretended not to notice. I let it all slide, because I knew what was coming. The next 3 months were busy. The acquisition required hundreds of hours of work. Meetings, reports, strategy sessions. I flew back and forth between cities, working with executives who treated me with respect. None of them knew about that dinner. None of them knew Marcus existed. To them, I was simply the expert they'd hired to make this transition smooth. Marcus, meanwhile, had no idea. His company kept employees in the dark during acquisitions. Standard practice. They'd be told the week before the deal closed, with reassurances about their jobs. Marcus thought he was safe. He thought he was important. he was about to learn otherwise. The week before the announcement, I flew in for final meetings. My schedule was packed: breakfast with the CEO, lunch with the board, afternoon sessions with department heads. At the bottom of my itinerary, one line caught my eye. 4 p.m., meeting with mid-level management team, includes Marcus Cole, sales. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I smiled. The meeting was in a conference room on the 15th floor. I arrived early, dressed in a suit that cost more than Marcus's monthly salary. My laptop was set up. My notes were ready. I was calm. The door opened and they filed in. 6 of them, mid-level managers who'd been with the company for years. Marcus was last. He didn't recognize me at first. Why would he? In his mind, I was still the sister-in-law who worked from her apartment in pajamas. I waited until everyone was seated. "Thank you all for coming," I said, standing at the front of the room. "I'm Zunri Vance, lead consultant for the acquisition team. I'll be overseeing your transition over the next 6 months." Marcus looked up. Our eyes met. The color drained from his face. I continued, as if nothing was wrong. "We have a lot to cover today. But first, I want to assure you that your positions are secure. The acquisition is about growth, not cuts. You're all valued members of this team." I glanced at Marcus. He was staring at his hands, his face pale. "Any questions before we begin?" No one spoke. "Great. Let's get started." The meeting lasted 2 hours. I led it professionally, covering every detail, answering every question. Marcus didn't say a word. He sat in the back, shrinking with every minute. When it ended, the others filed out. Marcus lingered, waiting until we were alone. "Zunri," he said. His voice was hoarse. I didn't know. Clearly. "I'm sorry." About dinner. About everything. I was out of line. I packed my laptop into my bag. "You were." "I didn't mean." "You meant every word, Marcus. That's what made it hurt." He swallowed. "What happens now?" I looked at him. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Not just fear, desperation. "Now," I said. "Now you do your job. You report to me for the next 6 months. You follow my instructions. You treat me with the respect you should have shown years ago." He nodded quickly. "I will. I promise." I walked toward the door. Then I stopped and turned back. "Oh, and Marcus? That deal you bragged about? The one worth 2 million? I know the details. I've seen the numbers. You didn't close that deal. Your team did. You just signed the paperwork." He didn't answer. I left him standing alone in that conference room. The next 6 months were interesting. Marcus was careful around me. Polite. Professional. He arrived early to meetings, stayed late when asked, never complained. He called me Miss Vance and avoided eye contact. I didn't make his life difficult. That wasn't the point. I just did my job, treated him fairly, and let him live with the knowledge of what he'd done. The rest of the family found out eventually. Lily called me one night, crying. "Zunri, Marcus told me everything. The dinner, the acquisition, all of it." I waited. "He's terrified you'll fire him. He's been miserable for months. Please, just tell me, are you going to hurt him?" I thought about that dinner. The laughter, the humiliation, the way no one had defended me. "I'm not going to hurt him, Lily. I'm just doing my job, the way he does his." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "I'm sorry. For laughing. For not stopping him. I should have said something." "You should have." "I know. I'm sorry." We talked for a while longer. Not about Marcus, about us. About growing up, about the distance between us, about how we'd let time and silence build walls. It wasn't a complete reconciliation, but it was a start. The acquisition closed successfully. My contract ended. I moved on to other projects, other clients, other challenges. Marcus kept his job. He wasn't fired, demoted, or humiliated. He just had to live with the memory of that conference room and the knowledge that the woman he'd mocked was the one in charge. I heard through Lily that he'd changed. Quieter, more humble, less quick to judge. Maybe that was the real victory. A year later, my mother hosted another family dinner. This time at her house. Casual, informal. Marcus was there. When I walked in, he stood up.
Zunri, he said.
Can I talk to you for a minute? We stepped into the kitchen. I wanted to apologize.
Properly.
Not because I'm scared of you, but because I was wrong. I was cruel, and I've thought about it every day since. I looked at him. He seemed sincere. Tired, maybe. Older. Thank you, Marcus. I know it doesn't undo what I said, but I hope we can move forward. I nodded. We can. We went back to the dining room. Dinner was pleasant. Normal. No jokes at my expense.
No tensión.
Afterward, Lily pulled me aside. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For not destroying him. For giving him a chance. I squeezed her hand. He gave himself a chance. I just didn't get in the way. My sister's husband mocked me at dinner. He didn't expect what happened next. Neither did I. Because what happened next wasn't revenge. It wasn't humiliation. It was something quieter.
Growth.
For him.
For me.
For all of us. And that, I've learned, is the best kind of ending.